Well, welcome, everybody to season 2, episode 14 of the Made in Dreams podcast. I am your host, Mighty Vicious, here always with the Emperor, Jammy James. And
Good to be
today,
back.
our guest, Aphrodite's Dream, Didi for short. Let's get it, well, I guess let's hit the ground running. Didi, tell us about yourself, tell us about your journey. What's going on?
Yeah, so lovely to be here. So as was stated, my name's Didi. That is just my name and what I usually ask people to refer me as. I'm Aphrodite's Dream on PSN. But so I started as a wee bab in Missouri, which was a tumultuous time. I had grown with like a close family connection, and eventually I also went to college in Missouri, where I studied theater and art studio, with a focus on printmaking. But you know, we all make decisions. It was fun, but it's printmaking. After that, right after I graduated, I moved to California because with my theater degree, I wanted to get into film. Because I mean, my mom always said that she always saw me in TV because as a baby, I would like act out the scenes on the screen whenever she'd watch like I Love Lucy. Um, and so then I ended up here in California, and I've been here for 2 years. And I think, funnily enough, whenever I moved to California was about whenever I got started in Dreams. I wasn't in like the very first phase of like people waiting like 20 million years for it to happen. But I was in like the beta. Um, but yeah, that's kind of a very abridged version of my life.
Oh, I mean, we share a few things because I finished college and then also went out to LA, well, to
Mhm.
California for a while. So we'll get more into that because I want to see what your experience has been. But before we do that, I'm going to switch over so people can see your work while we're
Yeah.
speaking. And I guess let's start out with I Dream in Pink. Like what
Mhm.
tell me about this project, like what brought you to this.
So really, I Dream in Pink is like it's a love song to myself and also to like every trans person who feels like they had to fit in a certain mold that they're constantly being put into. I know growing up in Missouri was not great because it's a pretty red state, especially where I'm from. I'm from like the southern, we call it the boot heel, where like it intersects with Arkansas. And my town was like 95% white. Basically, everybody was straight. Well, at least people weren't out. So I was like always the queer kid in school. I know that we had like 10 people with like my birth name, and people would be like, "Oh, have you talked to this person?" And they'd be like, "Which one?" And they'd be like, "Oh, the gay one." And that was me. Um, The nice thing is that I still had like a strong foundation because I was at least born and raised there, so I had a lot of friends who enjoyed my quirkiness, I guess, but that's just me being crazy. But I Dream in Pink, I knew that I suffer a lot with my art and finishing things and like bringing things into fruition actually. So I wanted to make something that was me reminding myself like how much I not only love myself but love me being non-binary and trans. And pink has always been like my color because as a kid, I wasn't even allowed to leave the house wearing pink because it was seen as too effeminate. I mean, of course, I was given like toy cars to play with where I'd be with my sister in the other room and I'd play like with her Barbies with her and I would cut up our clothes and make little like rest in peace those fashion accessories. But I have grown since then with my fashion. um, but really, I knew that I wanted to create something that I saw in my head because this tree is sort of this place that I always go to whenever I want to feel like home. Because whenever Missouri didn't feel like that, I could just lay in bed and I could just like close my eyes and I was here where all that it was this lush field of like green grass and this one tree in the middle. So I Dream in Pink was literally everything that's in here you saw and everything that I said was like straight from the heart, uh, with like with like the musical score that I sort of like defined. Thank God I had Curtis who helped me with it because I'm still struggling with the music tool sometimes. But he really helped me develop this sort of like ambiance of like everything is pink and lush, but also there's this sort of like horror element of the organs to also emphasize like my upbringing and background in horror as well. So that's kind of the sandwich of that piece.
And how important was that for you? Oh, I'm sorry. There was a little feedback on me. Uh, like how important was that for you as far as dreams giving you the platform to be able to actualize and really have a conversation with yourself in an artistic platform?
Um, I'll be honest, whenever I released it, I cried, because it was so important to me. Dreams like giving me the opportunity to create this place that like meant so much to me. Like when I say it means so much to me, I mean like this place was honestly life or death for me. Like growing up, without it, I don't know where I'd be, what I would have been, without like that solace. And so I wanted to actualize it so that anytime I felt that pain, I could just turn on dreams and I can go right back to it. And yeah, I do like kind of have this somber monologue, but the whole point at the end was to remind myself that like you're not what people try to make you. You're the person that you have made yourself to be. And you're this person who is a guardian, an angel, a goddess, pink of love, of beauty, and you realize that, you love that, and you move on with it. And so dreams helped emphasize that for me, and honestly, I'm in debt to it.
Awesome. I mean, that is powerful stuff.
Yeah,
um,
I'm very dramatic.
I mean, some things deserve to be dramatized.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess of course we're all trying to tell, I guess, the story of who we are and draw from our personal experiences. But
Hmm.
like, who do you draw inspiration from as it pertains to, I guess, the delivery of your art, the filmmaking aspect of your art?
It's interesting because I have a bunch of like little inspirations, like randomly. Like there's an artist named Will Cotton who, if you've seen the cover of Katy Perry's Dream song where she's like laying in the pink cotton, um,
I do not believe I have, but I have seen Will Cotton's work.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. He's somebody that had always inspired me. In terms of film where I draw a lot of stuff, Guillermo del Toro is a big inspiration for me, especially in terms of my horror. I'd say like really my horror part of my aesthetic comes from Guillermo del Toro, John Carpenter, very that. Whereas the light and fluffy very much comes from like Will Cotton, Steven Universe. I'm trying to think about things as well. Honestly, also amidst some like Furbies and Barbies as a kid. I know people hate Furbies, but like they're everything to me. Um, so I'd say that honestly, that's where a lot of that comes from, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not expect the Furby part.
Yes, I just think about these little cute little creatures and they're also kind of like terrifying, and I love that.
the the short you made him
Mhm,
the first thing I think of when I hear him
mhm.
uh, is
Powerpuff Girls,
yes, Powerpuff Girls, because
exactly.
that was one of the most terrifying things I think I saw as a young kid. Like
Yeah.
everybody thought it was fun and like all this stuff, but I'm like something about a devil with crab hands in a tutu
Hmm.
speaking in like five voices at once. I was like, like I wasn't even like a child when that show was on, and I was just like, that is kind of creepy.
I like Cartoon Network in that time era is so like because like him, I remember watching Powerpuff Girls and being like, now why can't that be me? um, and now thankfully that is me.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
like between that and I even watch like Courage and even like shows as demented as Cow and Chicken, everything like that, I go, I will absorb that. I will turn that into moisturizer and put it into my skin. Um, and now I draw a lot from like that content as well.
So is everything you do a play on, like, I guess, self-reflection of looking inward and kind of shining a light through yourself and putting up your art as a silhouette on the wall? Like, is it that type of self-reflection and realization, or is there a message that you yourself are trying to, or that you feel you're working towards? Like maybe you haven't gotten the original thesis yet.
Well, it's a little bit of both, I'd say. I think that almost everything that I do, I put a little bit of myself into. Um, and honestly, I say a little bit of myself, but I actually put a lot of myself into literally everything. Because I do have like a message, and especially within dreams, of like wanting to show like game devs and even other dreamers who just who just create things.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have a bias. We all have our own brains and our own perspectives and the world around us. And I can see whenever I play these dreams and I watch like these animations and these short stories, how overwhelmingly like heterosexual they are, if there is sexuality played at all. And I want game devs and dreamers to to just make people queer. I want people to see that in the world that we live in, um, there's queer people literally everywhere, obviously. And I want games and dreams to reflect the world that we live in. And I want trans stories. I want queer stories. I want games where there's just this little guy who's just oh, my boyfriend and I broke up like 2 days ago, and that's his only line in the movie. It's like the smallest thing. So my goal is always to provide a voice that was suppressed for generations for queer people. And I want to bring that to dreams because if there's one place to start, I think that dreams is the perfect place.
I would definitely agree with you. Um, I think we're just getting to basically the crux of what dreams can be.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see it as a trendsetter in a way that it's going to take over a lot of the. I don't know. It's good. I think it's going to become the format that we get a lot of stuff out of, whether it be memes or the short films that people can just throw up on on
Yeah.
Twitter or anything like that. And yeah, representation is
Mm-hmm.
always important, and to have a place that's genuinely as welcoming as the dreams community, more welcoming than really any community I've ever been a part of.
Oh
Like,
yeah, easy. I know. Especially whenever I released I Dream in Pink, I was it was hard for me to release it because I was absolutely overcome with anxiety. Because I know that there are people that love what I do, but of course there's plenty of people who hate that I'm so queer driven, because it's very oh, why does everything you do have to be queer and all that? Which I mean I think I make my message very clear why. But whenever I Dream in Pink was picked for Picks, I was like, I'm like, I don't know. But I think that I actually had an out of body experience where my soul left. And Curtis, the love of my life, my favorite Canadian, he uh, he had tweet direct messaged me about how they were playing it on their stream. Um, Jen and Tania particularly, who I think that honestly I can't thank those two enough, especially. I think that Jen is the one that saw it on Twitter and showed it to people, and honestly, I owe her my life because I love her and that meant everything to me. And I love how I found a lot of accessibility with MM through her, because it felt so easy to talk to her and share things with her, and her excitement for queer messages meant so much. And dreams, having somebody in a development team like that is so imperative for people like me who want to use dreams to spread these messages. But if nobody cares, then like it's hard. It's like, yeah, I'll do it anyways. But if people care about what I'm doing, then that only makes me more powerful, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
definitely. I very few times in my personal life have I felt like that I've been at the start of something. I
Yeah.
don't like at the start, the ground floor of something that's going to grow into something bigger. Like
Hmm.
getting a little bit away from dreams, but generationally,
Yeah.
like I always tell people, like there's a difference between being a filmmaker, like being a filmmaker in the industry and set to make something back in the early 90s than
Hmm.
now, or being someone who's trying to set up for the internet and being at the cusp of it at the right when it hit the market. And I feel like dreams is that thing where it's not run by, and at the moment it's not run by any type of algorithm.
Right.
Everybody's on the ground floor. Everybody is trying to get their work out, and it really means, and what it's showing through Twitter, that if you make something, you can actually have it be seen,
Hmm.
and it's not so hard to get your stuff out. And that vehicle that's been created by dreams, I can't express enough how important and potent that is. So
Yeah, yeah, I know, like without dreams, like it's so hard to just do film stuff because like you need all that equipment. And I'm like, Mama, I work at Target as a beauty consultant. I don't make no like $20 an hour and I'm not full time. I ain't got that film crew money. So having dreams where like to have a camera, you just use a gadget, and then like I just use some little beat boops and some little boobops, and then I have a movie where I can like use my voice too. It's like everything. I mean, I wish I could like transpose myself into dreams and just be like, wow, look, I'm also hanging around and acting. But even just having being able to do the vocal work, and making a vision come to life, and then putting it on YouTube and being like, hey, y'all, look at this thing that I made, is incredible. Even as somebody with, as I said, like literally zero game dev, I took no classes in high school or college. I still hardly know what I'm doing half the time, but I know what I want and I know what I see, and that's how the things come to be.
and I definitely agree with that, because I mean, like you said, like I'm in the same boat. Like
Hmm.
as far as filmmaking goes, like I don't have connections.
Hmm.
I have people that are kind of disillusioned with what filmmaking is,
Yeah.
and so like that's why I found it interesting, your venture to California, because my story as far as California goes was that I feel like I learned one thing. Well,
Hmm.
one real important thing when I was out there, and it was the difference between people who want to make film and people who want to be famous.
Yeah.
And because, like, for instance, like, I lived with a friend, and this friend they had directors, sound engineers, actors, voice actors, uh, special effects guys. We were all in this one place, and everybody was trying to like be a part of that big production.
Yeah.
And they would be like, I want to make movies. I want to make movies. And I'm like, well, we have everyone here.
Hmm.
We need to make movies. And so,
Yeah.
and I feel like with that, if you bring that back into dreams, it does take away that thing where it's like, hey, like you might not be making maybe not even the final form of what you intend to make. Like it could
Mm-hmm.
just be a piece, but in that piece, there's way more than you had before dreams existed. Like you said,
Yeah.
I always wanted to do voice acting, and I had no way to get into it. Like
Mm-hmm.
but another thing about that was I also wanted to do, short films. And I had no way to do that because I've been like really close to putting together a production, like a month away from beginning production in IRL, and have everything fall apart multiple times.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a reason I believe that dreams, even if technically at this point can't do everything that I wanted to do, I can
Mm-hmm.
do more than I could before it existed.
Right.
And yeah,
Yes.
so I mean, go
I
ahead. I don't want to just keep talking.
Oh no, you're fine. No, I love it. I definitely because like through and through I'm an actress and like performing is everything for me. I know in theater and in college it was so hard for me because I didn't fit the normal, and that's the normal like for their productions, and I got cast so little, and a lot of it was because of my voice, because on like TLDR, when I was born with a cleft palate. So like that sort of like messed with my vocal tonality. It made my voice pretty nasally, and sometimes like it makes it have more of like a monotone quality. And so whenever I was in college, it was always, oh, how can we fix that? And I'm like, y'all, it's literally a physical abnormality. I don't, and like they would try to have like voice classes with me, and they're like, oh well, if you like lower the pitch of your voice, and I'm like, girl, that's not how this works. So like whenever I dealt with that and in college, it made me realize that like most of my path towards doing what I want to do, I'm literally gonna have to like build on my own. And the nice thing about dreams, um, and honestly, like, mm, and some of the film work I've been able to do around here, I get to just do it myself. So nobody's gonna tell me, oh, can you like fix that? And I go, no. And I just do it anyways. And like even when I first got here, I started doing like film extra work immediately. I'm SAG eligible, but I ain't got that SAG money, which is the actors union for people who don't know. Um, and that's like a gateway to be able to actually get auditions and agents and all that. But also LA is very money, which who has that? So the nice thing about Dreams is that I pay for the game, and now I can just do whatever, and it doesn't cost me anything. Well, I mean, PlayStation charges me, but not Media Molecule.
Yeah. um so let me, I guess I still want to harp on that point though, like
Yeah.
because it really is a big one, especially for people dealing with film. Like
Hmm.
it's just like, I don't know how many times you've been hit with this, but people are just like, yeah, you say you want to make movies, just do it.
Hmm. All the
And
time.
yeah, they're like, you want to make movies, like you say you want to do it, just do it. And I'm like, yo, this isn't the same as, nobody's profession should be looked down on. So I say that
Right.
as a precursor to what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
But some professions are easier to accomplish. I,
Oh
I I
yeah.
I would hope everyone can agree with that. Like if you're a teacher, if you're willing to move, there is always a job there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in most professions, there's a place for you. When you're a creative, it becomes a little more difficult, especially when it comes to your own being able to control your own direction in the creations you want to make. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, like the money thing, nobody, especially right now, nobody really has that except for, people who always had way too much before
Right.
before it started. But then also going back to that story about LA, it's the idea that, everybody, I guess there's everyone has their definition of success, so you may
Mm-hmm.
not always have someone that's willing to jump on board your definition, like,
Yeah.
and once again, bringing it back to dreams, just that's the beauty, is that, you may not be able to do it as fast, like,
Mm-hmm.
because, normally it takes a small town to make a movie, um, as far as the bodies needed. So you may not be able to do it as fast, but as MC Alchemist, who joined us in chat a little bit ago, explained, it's like, hey, but now you got the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have the thing to get it out there and let it be done. And, even if no more changes come to dreams, even if for some reason there's no support or anything like that, what's been given in my mind, and it's because of specifically what I wanted from gaming, it
Yeah.
is it is everything it needs to be to do everything that I asked for. I just got to get better.
I'm the nice thing too is that at least like when I started Dreams, it was such a struggle because it felt like I didn't have anybody. And I'm a person, I'm so extroverted. And like I struggle with uh I would say that I struggle with logic, but that doesn't even explain what logic does to me. Like if you see a hole in the ground, basically 5, 6 feet wide, it's probably for me and the logic dug it for me. It literally kills me because I'm so bad at it. And like I watch the videos and everything and like I don't learn well that way. I learn better having people there with me. And that's why I'm begging Media Molecule for multiplayer because I need help. um, I mean, even with I Dream and Ping, without Curtis there, like helping push me, like be like, you can do this, and helping me with like music and any like sort of logic questions. Also, I messaged Tap so many times. Like so many times, and I remember I sent him like this paragraph, and I was like, "Oh my God, Tap, please! I am panicking. I have no idea how to do this, and if I don't get this done, I'm gonna scream."
Yeah, believe me, we are kindred spirits in that sense. Like, logic is, as many people, if you've watched this show before, I talk about it all the time as to what it does to me. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There is help out there, and
Mm-hmm.
as we talked a little bit about before coming live, like the idea that all of us that are in dreams right now are we're basically the groundwork. We're the people that are paving the way for those that come after us, as far as
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge that we can share to stop that wall from deterring other players.
Yeah,
Um, and so, like, all of us may not be, the gods of dreams, but we're
certainly
gonna
not.
we're gonna be, we're gonna be the foundation of basically keeping dreams going.
Yeah.
And that's, in a more recent thing that I discussed, with Kermidius, for those that are familiar with Wuxi. was the idea of sharing in dreams. We'll have that solo imps episode coming up. I'll be uploading it soon, but I want to get a few more done before we do that. But yeah, we were talking about sharing in dreams and the idea that, everything we do right now is building up, really building the community. Like, we are making dreams better even without Media Molecule, like, making changes. And so dreams is games communism. Wow. MC
Love
out.
that.
I mean, yeah. And so, I've said this before, but I really do want to push, like, for people who do have issues kind of like sharing what they do. Now, the assets, yeah, that's your asset. You do what you want with that. But as far as the knowledge, and that's what's important to me, more importantly to me, the knowledge of doing certain things within dreams, all that does is make dreams better, and it makes people within dreams better. And it's just, yeah, as Alchemist said, it's games communism. Like, that's what we're searching for.
I mean, without that, like, it'd be so hard for me to do anything. Just because, I mean, like I said, I have none of that background. And the dreams community gives me the opportunity to, like, because, like, my goal in dreams are to tell these stories. I'm not trying to like make something. I'm not trying to like make something groundbreaking or like become this new face of dreams or like change the wheel, as they say.
Yeah.
I just want tools to help me like bring my stories to life, or at least like help, and I mean, thankfully, which I've gotten to be able to bring these things to fruition. Because otherwise, and I've definitely had this before, where like I'll play dreams and then I just can't. I have to stop because I'm too frustrated, flustered, because dreams is honestly hard for me, as it is for some people. And I mean, sometimes it's hard whenever like you see your friends like every time Manabo releases something or half up. I'm like, I hate y'all. I hate how much I love you guys. Especially Manabo, who's like a pretty good friend of mine who I would talk to all the time. For help, I go, please, somebody, anybody, and I even like that. Even whenever people like text me their help, it's still hard for me. Because I'm a person who learns by doing things with another person. I know that there was one time when I was trying to make this piano where you have to hit three keys in a certain order in order to activate something. And I looked at this piano and I'm like, uh, and bless his heart, Breezy, and this is before he got signed on to Media Molecule even. He like he let me. I don't know what it's called, but like I was watching him while he was doing it, on the PlayStation, and like he was explaining to me what he was doing, and I was like, perfect. That's what I need. And then it helped a ton.
Indeed. So, I mean, I want to second that help thing because Lord knows, so many have tried. so,
Yeah.
so many have tried, and they're like, wait, how far are you getting? And I'm like, well, I got to here, and I feel like, and I've been kind of on a forced hiatus right in the middle of trying to, because I've really put forward my best foot trying to learn Logic, because
Me too.
I stopped all of my like sculpting. I stopped everything and was just like, I'm going to focus on Logic. And I did this one thing, and everyone, like, thankfully everyone came out of the woodwork trying to help me. And,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to this point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop asking for help, not because I don't get it or not because I didn't get help, but because the time I'm putting into this to make this work, I might as well just give it to someone who could just do it in a second and
Right.
but the option to do either or is like that's in itself powerful. And
Mm-hmm.
and I know you said you're not trying to do anything groundbreaking, but is that true? Is that true?
Maybe I'm kind of lying. Because maybe I am trying to encourage people. Okay, I was completely lying. I am trying to sort of break like sort of this wall of the lack of queer stuff on dreams. That is true. I'm trying to encourage people to make more queer things, or not even things that are just queer, but have elements of anything beyond straight white male sort of things. Like, all right, we had enough. We're ready for
Yeah, I
ready
mean, I can
for
understand that.
more things.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, I can understand that, and I mean, that's something that's a conversation that spans to the entertainment industry as a whole.
Hmm.
Not not necessarily just dreams, but any voice trying to further that is
Oh
is
yeah.
is a powerful voice. So continue to try to push people to do that.
I am. I mean, there's several games that I play. Like I play a lot of League of Legends, for example, and there's over 100 and something champions, and there's one that's confirmed queer. I'm like, I don't. I something doesn't add up here. I'm like,
uh, I
it
mean,
is things like that.
okay, well, I got one, and it was before Senna was released. I know we're getting into League of Legends talk here a little
Right.
bit, but I until Senna was released, the thing that tripped me out was they had one black male character, and
Yeah.
the skin for that black male character turned him white.
Yep.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wait. Well, it's like you undid it. But then again, being familiar with the how would it, being familiar with how I guess black people are perceived within
Hmm.
Asian culture, it
Yeah.
makes it like I get why they did it, but it's still not a good look, you know. but yeah,
Right.
but
And I mean,
yeah,
I know that especially in trans stuff gets a little complicated, especially in that area, because I know that they would have and this will be my last thing about League of Legends, sorry, but I know that they had a character they knew that they wanted to make trans, but then they had to pull back on it. And I want game studios to just commit to it, just do it, because I know that we're always scared about, you want your game to sell. I know, even whenever The Last of Us 2 came out, and Ellie was, uh-oh, maybe a lesbian, or maybe Abby is trans, things like that. There was so much controversy, and I'm
oh yeah,
I want people to realize that queer people are literally all around you. Like when you go to work, there I can assure you there is at least one.
yeah.
And I can assure you that you have met a trans person, even if they haven't been hello, I'm trans. And I want game studios to normalize just having those characters. It's like you don't have to make a character, you don't have to make a gay male character who's oh, effeminate and oh, zippity doo dah. You don't have to rely on that.
Yeah.
You can just have the simplest little details and just make your game, tell the stories you want to tell, have a queer person. Maybe don't kill them for once. That'd be great because that happens all the time. Maybe let them have a happy life too. things like that. I have like a million things that I want to do in terms of like, with the voices and telling like also queer happy stories where like they end up together, where like maybe not one of them dies of AIDS. That's always ideal. When you have those stories where like it's a happy ending too. Or like having trans characters who don't have to like pass for their gender and like the society norms. I want everybody to have like characters that they can see and they're like, that's like me, and that means a lot to me because I didn't have a whole lot of that growing up. And I know that really would have helped.
Yeah, it changes a lot as far as just seeing someone like you.
Hmm.
And that's been something that maybe not on this show, but on other podcasts that I do, I've talked about multiple times. Like
Yeah.
people don't understand a lot of the times just the psychological damage that comes from not being able to see someone like you represented in the roles that everyone else sees.
Hmm.
And some people are like, oh well, you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you just be you, and if you're strong
Oh
enough,
yeah.
you'll make it, blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, it's not that simple.
I know.
Like
Oh yes, thank you for that. Now I am strong. Thank
yeah,
you.
yes, I'm glad you told me that all I needed to be was strong. I'll be strong right away.
I am a
um
gladiator now. Thank you.
so like, yeah, it really is important. And um this might be a little too much for some people in this chat, but if you ever want to see, just personally for me, this is like the video that I could point people out to. That's just like, if you want to see what the psychological damage of not having representation can do, there was a psychological study called that was basically the doll study. And in this video, which if y'all really want, it's a little rough. At least it is for me. Like I tear up every time I watch
Mhm.
it because it's just rough for me to see. But I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it. But yeah, it's basically, if you get a chance, Doll. It's I'll pull it up while we're talking again at some point, but it's basically just, I'll explain it a little bit. And like I said, I'm sorry if this is being a little too much for some people, but it is important. They take black children and they put them at a table with a line gradient of dolls with different skin tones, and they ask the little girl, like the little black girl, like, which doll is beautiful, and she points to the white one. And then they ask which doll is bad, ugly, evil. She points to the black doll, and that's the doll that looks like her. So, and you say like, well, how the hell does a child like come to that conclusion? And it's because, when you see online in movies and the news, and all you see black people as is like crooks, thugs, villains, like all that stuff. And then when you see people like shown as beautiful and they're all
Mhm.
white women, like that stuff messes a child up. And the reason it hits me personally so hard is because I did not realize it, but I grew up on movies, comic books, like those were my big things. And about a decade ago, like I said, I'm an old man, but about a decade ago, I realized that a lot of the characters that I was drawing or writing about in my scripts, or even like, they were all white. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it. Like I just never even thought about it. And then one day I was just like, wait, where the hell are my characters that look like me? And that really messed me up. Like it took me a while to really shift and think back to how all of that. So for all the people that, get upset and they're like, oh, they're just trying to change characters to, oh, this character has to be gay now, or this character
Mm-hmm.
has to be black now. Like there's a reason people are fighting so hard for that message to get out,
Mm-hmm.
because it's literally making people feel like they are less than human.
Yeah.
And you might not understand or feel that because it doesn't necessarily pertain to an issue you have. Like, when it comes down to it, like up until hell, I think even still now, like 98% of all superheroes are white.
Yeah.
95% of, or no, it changed in 2016. 85% of all lead roles in films are white males.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so even when you want to break that down and not speak about race, you're still speaking about, how many of the leads are women, which we have seen an uptick in, but even still, those women have to have pretty long resumes to,
Yeah.
to get that type of recognition. How many, basically, how many just, who are you representing?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, who are you really representing? An art is supposed to be a mirror of the world around you with your own personal expression. Like, where's the rest of the world? So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that's why I mean I tell people I might anything that I make in dreams will be queer. Like any character you see or anything, like I am even right now I'm writing a story about Aphrodite and Persephone, who actually like my own sort of mythology of them being lovers. Because like I want I don't think you'll understand how gay I want to make dreams. I I simply want to reflect what I want to do in the film world as well. And dreams is just good at being able to give me the accessibility to be able to do that. Um, and I mean, thankfully, media, I think, is ever growing. And I think like diversity is getting better. But there's always room to to improve and to further show like this is what the world looks like. And sure, there's still places where if you look in a classroom, it's like it's all white. But then you have to ask the question, why? Why is it like that?
yeah,
It's not like, oh, it just happened. There's a reason. Or why in my high school was I one of very few people who came out. Like that's not there's something going on there. Like we have to like look at our environments, and that's why we have the media that we do to tell those stories to make us think. And then if we're always thinking about like our surroundings, then we can take into that fact and then make our own art that tells stories that should be told or need to be told.
yeah. Uh, such a potent conversation. I just like it's.
Right.
I didn't expect to come here during this podcast, but yeah, I mean, do whatever you can to get your vision and your
Mm-hmm.
message out, and ultimately that's what everyone's trying to do. And so, and a lot of people are conditioned in certain ways. Like we do pick up cues from what we see, what we watch, what we read,
Mm-hmm.
so, but for those people, it's not necessarily trying to stop you from creating your vision. It's making you aware of, like you said, like the details where it's like, but do you see that though? Do you see
Right.
that thing right there in your
Mm-hmm.
vision? Like, and it's just really important. Like, there's not really much else to say on that, in my opinion. Well, there's a lot more to say about it as far as going into details, but
Right.
as far as just the the top of the tip of the iceberg being like, making sure that representation is a message that's being flown on the flag out to the rest of people. Like, do what you do, and make your art and continue to grow. And as long as everybody continues to grow, like, we'll get to where we're going. It's only when you get it's only when you're closed off and purposefully obtuse, as my brother would put it, like,
Right.
it's only then that you really start to put yourself in danger of being called out for certain things, or even considering it being called out, like,
Mm-hmm.
um like the bereaved. How would maybe I shouldn't use that term. No, because there's a way my brother explains it, and it's right, but it's like, it also is kind of asking for someone to take offense to
Right.
it, but it's just like the bereaved culture of the war on straight men, that whole horse shit that's going,
Right. I
those,
love that. Yes, this
yeah,
war.
yeah. It's just like, come on.
I just want to be queer. There is no war. I just want to be able to do things without having food thrown at me. Please
Yeah,
and thank you.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I don't remember the last time. I just personally, I'm here to be corrected, but I don't remember the last time that I heard of a mass genocide of straight white men doing it, like, happening. I just don't remember
Right.
it. Maybe I didn't pay attention in the history books, but as far as I'm concerned, it's if there's a war, this is the most one-sided war you could
Right.
possibly.
I I want people to realize, especially within the dreams community, that really like dreams is such like an easy catalyst for like all the like these messages that we want to send. And that's why like I use it to do that. Would it I mean it'd be yes, it'd be easier if like it didn't feel so like me, just here and everybody else is here. And I mean, I'd love to one day have sort of like a queer collective of like people who like we come together and like we just really just churn out queer content of like of every kind. And I'm hoping that if there's one thing that you can get from me and like this whole shebang, it's it's one to please make queer things, but to two like always consider like characters and characterization and lives that are outside your own, and always consider outside perspectives within the world, like trying to like make things from a different perspective, like even in just one dream, try it, and let that show you like how much power that can add to not only you as a creator, but to a piece that you're putting the same love that you put into like your own pieces, that you put your own bias in, which your bias isn't bad, I'm not saying that, but your own perspective, I'll say. So
Yeah.
I'll always, I just want to encourage people to always think on the outside. Think about people who are working every day to make themselves visible, and think about using your platform to help make that happen.
Yeah. That's, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's
Yeah.
that's it. So, what I guess is there a big project? Because we always ask this for whoever comes on, but
Yeah.
is there a big project that you're working towards, that you may be like, I'm not good enough to do this yet, but everything I'm working on is to get to this one big thing? Is there something that you got cooking in the far reaches? Because we all have like 80 projects that we are still trying to
Yes.
work on. Is there's that one that's been sitting back there, it's pushed all the way back now, and you're like, that's what I'm working towards?
Yes, I mean like, and I mean y'all saw like all those like work in projects, which were basically all abandoned because of my either ADHD or incompetence, including that duck in the watermelon world. Well, actually, it was a platypus, but that's not important. That isn't the project, but it is something. It was like I'm bad with platformers. But I know that I put a little clip of it of the typing of dysphoria, um, and with like the little dictionary definition too. I really want to create this surrealist motion picture. Well, I call it sensory surrealist motion picture.
Hmm.
Um, about what it's like to like a personal journey of like what it's like to live with dysphoria, and like what that does to a person. It takes a lot of energy because that does like dive pretty deep into me, but there's something like kind of therapeutic about it. Just there's a lot of things I do not know how to do, and I don't even know how to approach. But I know that I want it to be a message of like I want to like really dive into the horror of it. But I also want to like I want to show people one trans story that's like reflective of my own. Because I also want people to know that like me telling my story is not going to be the same as other trans stories. How I present myself is different than how other non-binary people present themselves. But I really want, um, I guess, a work in progress title, Dysphoria, to be you know nothing about how it feels to be a trans person. I want you to like watch and experience this, and I want you to feel it. I want you to like to see, to hear. I want it to like influence your emotions so much that you're that person. So yeah,
Yeah, it's. I
really
mean, I feel like that's the goal, to
kind
basically
of
put
dark
the
intro.
yeah, basically put the humanity into it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, just like you might not have the same experience, but being able to understand that experience from that perspective allows you to
Exactly.
see the subject matter, or the person within the subject matter, as more human.
Exactly.
And
Anything that makes it look like trans people are just people that were born with like different, you know, molecular biology, all that stuff. But they're still a person. It's not like a monster. It's not somebody who wants to like go into the bathroom with your child or something like that. Because people always present those arguments that like trans people are like these monsters, people who want to create unsafe spaces for your children. Whenever all that we want to do, we want to wake up in the morning, hate that we're waking up in the morning, eat breakfast, go to work, make money, support our family, and that's it. We just want to live. We
yeah,
just want to survive.
and I'll make a proclamation right now, just in case we have anyone who may not have felt so comfortable during this conversation. Um, But when it comes down to it, like a lot of it comes from religion, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to preach to anybody what their religion or anything like that. All I would say is that at the basis of at least one of the biggest purveyors of the stigma of individuality being
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, just remember that at the beginning it's nothing but the logos, and the logos is love. So
Yeah.
just know love, have the capacity to love unconditionally within you, and we'll all see better days. um I do want to approach this question in chat because I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
Payoff Wizard, who, for those that don't know, is an actual wizard in dreams. I don't know who hasn't played Ascent. It's many of the other things that just amazing. But he types in chat, quick question. I made a black character for Vicious being me, to voice, but for a moment I thought he was going to be unable to do it. In this scenario, is it better to have a white guy voice the black character or change the character to white? And Bexis said option 3, involve black creators. Huh. How? Let me ask you. I'm gonna shift that over to you, Didy. Like,
To
what do you?
me,
Yeah. I'm gonna shift that to you because I want to take a moment to really think about this because there are many. It's not a simple like right and wrong answer,
uh-huh.
and I can give many you know places where or examples of where people have been put into the situation of this conundrum and had to work their way out of it. And I so yeah, if you do you want to go at it, or should I just start
Sure.
blabbering?
I
Okay.
mean, I definitely can. Although this is coming from my I am white, just so that everybody knows. So that it's that perspective. In fact, I am actually blending into the wall. It's hard, but most importantly, I think that whoever said the option 3 involve black creators, I think kind of hits it on the what is the expression on the nail hits it.
Hit nail on the head
There
or
we
hit
go. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, great, got there. I think that you should do everything that you can just to I think regularly involve black creators, queer creators, literally people across the spectrum. If you have the opportunity to do that, then you should just do it. I think that in that situation, if you're worried that Vicious couldn't do it, um, then I would just find another black creator, because I don't know. I would just find another black creator because I don't think there's enough um, black created emphasized content on Dreams. I want more. There should always be more, and I think that that's just an opportunity to do that.
You know, I really appreciate that answer from you and Bexus because I I get hung up. I personally get hung up in this because I'm always that like this all goes back to the representation thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
how many companies would have been saved from disastrous marketing if they had one black guy in the
Yeah.
office to be like, "Hey guys, that's not the way you want to do this." Like
Yeah.
like so
Literally same.
I get that. And also from Payoff Wizard, who says, obviously the best option, but I wouldn't know where to start. I'm going to tell you, like, we were doing roundtables for those that might be your first time here. We did roundtables where we had creators from Dreams just coming in with just 6 of us, and we were just talking Dreams the whole for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking back because I watch all these over again. And I was like, I haven't had any black people on. And it wasn't on purpose. Like, it was just, I noticed it while watching back through. Sometimes I put the podcast on because I'm taking notes on things I do as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can I make this better? How can I change this up? But the moment I realized it, I was like, okay, I want an all black like an all black
Yeah.
roundtable. And that's where I come back to what Payoff Wizard brought up, because I have been trying to find black creators in dreams, and I thought I knew how to do it. I thought I would be like, oh, well, I'll just look for black creators, we'll get it done. It's so hard. Like, like, even people, because some people don't have their faces out there like me,
Yeah.
and there were some people where I was like, I think they're black, but I don't know. And it's not necessarily because of anything they said or hearing their voice and being like, oh, that's a black guy. No, it's just, there were ones I was like, I thought they were black. And finding out that some of them weren't made it so much harder for me to try to fill up. So I'm still trying to do it. Like,
Right.
I've reached out to the creator for Modi, Son of Thor.
I love that.
Exactly. MC Alchemist, I did that. I'm not even trying to shy away from it. I did. I like DM someone would be like, hey, you black? And I'm going to tell you, I got some interesting answers. Like, it wasn't just a straight up yes or no. Well, it was yes and no, but at the same time, it was like, I got other answers. And that it was wild. And so, it is what it is. I'm not calling anybody out, making fun of anybody, trying to say anything negative about anybody. Splatty's Adventure creators, Black in Streams. Drop the name for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Drop the name for me. I'll get on it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, even me, the only person I could even think of was Actraman. Actraman, I don't know how you say it. He's like also a cosplayer. He did like a really spooky thing.
Guys, drop it. See, Payoff or MC Alchemist said, I'm sure the community could help you. See, I tweeted about this. I was like, drop names of Black Dreams creators so that I can look them up and reach out to them for a roundtable. Nobody responded.
Sometimes Twitter is kind of rough.
See, but it's the only place that I know that the largest vocal community
right
of dreams is. Like, Facebook, yeah, like, you have the people that constantly get the thumbs ups and all the interactions and stuff, but then you have people who will ask things in like crickets for forever. Yeah. But like Twitter, usually you at least get someone who will drop and be like, oh, they'll drop and be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. That one person might be me. Because I'll see somebody not getting responses, and I'm on Facebook like once every 2 weeks now. But if I see somebody in the dreams thing, like, who put something and they didn't get a response, I'll be like, hey, try to reach out to people on this way to because I know there are people who would be willing to help. Vicious, I'm going to scrap the plans I had for your character and make him a superhero. What?
I mean, it's funny because I kind of deal with the same thing with queer creators. Because I mean, there's several people who like put the little rainbow flag in their bio, but like, I'm not just gonna assume that they're then queer, because I know that sometimes allies do that too. Because even that, I'm still only found like a handful of people. I know that like, and because I really want to work with more queer people. So especially if you're queer and trans, anybody that's watching, like, feel free to message me because I simply want just a nice queer collective of people so that we can really turn dreams rainbow. I love that.
There we go. Okay. There we go. I'm just taking down notes of all the names people are dropping in chat
Right, yeah. Good idea.
because I'm definitely gonna be running at
Messenger.
people. Yeah, I'll be running. They'll be like, dude, if they know each other, they're gonna be like, yo, this guy is he's really
Right.
rabid about this.
I mean, I loved it when y'all did the all women's round table. Like, I definitely watched the shit out of that. I was like, we love it.
Yeah, like I mean, that's the thing. Like it all started from the like me watching back through the show and just being like, who's not being represented here?
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, as we've beaten into people's brains during this episode, it's important. It's
Yeah.
important. And if we doing roundups, where are my fellow Mexicans? Hey, find them.
Exactly.
Find them. Be like, yo, there's this guy that wants to talk to you. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's sausage fest no longer. Like, it really did. Like I mean, we've said on the show a few times now that if there is no like popularity quota to get onto this show. Like, we just want to talk to anybody who has anything to say, feels strongly about what they have to say about dreams. Like, it's not about who the best creators are, or who's the best at logic and animation or making cinematic things. It's just, do you love dreams? Do you have something you want to say? And making sure that we get enough people and diversity in the people we have to make sure everything is said. And so, you know, I still want Payoff Wizard to jump on here with me. And you know, I still need to do my solo, or the solo joint with MC Alchemist, who was on our roundtable. But anybody who wants to be on, all you got to do is hit us up. Like that. I mean, we may have a schedule, so it may take a minute to get to you, but we'll get to you. And if not, I'll talk to you on my solo imp show where I just talk to people. War Garble I've been trying to nail down for a long time.
Yeah.
And the one time he had time to do solo imps with me, I was injured.
Oh.
So
You hate to see it.
so yeah, I'm just like, man, the one time I could have had War Garble. But like, it's just like, he's like, yeah, I'm free 10 days, let's do it. And I'm like, I'm bedridden 2 weeks.
Right.
Cool. But yeah, like, there's so many people I want to speak to, but I want to speak to everybody.
Yeah.
Man, if I don't get into the Hispanic podcast just because I'm busy with college, I'm gonna be upset. Well, keep in touch. Man, I'm Mighty Vicious everywhere. So if you're on Twitter, drop me a DM and just be like, hey, keep me in mind. And we'll get it going. Because I don't have a problem with doing it. I love the roundtable episodes because a lot of times I feel like I'm talking too much. So like I always feel like I always feel like, no, personally, I always feel like I'm boring my guest. Like that's just how I feel about it. I'm just like, that's why I rewatch things. I'm like, did I give him enough time to speak? Like, did I take over the conversation too much? Like, you know, did I make it about me? And you know, just all those notes I try to take to be better for you guys, for the people. So yeah. So yeah. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but is it Char? Char, I don't know, or I just message me. just message me, okay? Self-aware mighty. I'm always, that's my thing. I mean, if anybody who's watched any of the other shows that I do, I'm just a hypercritical thinker. Like I'm food for thought made into a person. So like that's how I work with everything. It's also why I also torture myself in my creations, as I feel all artists do. You know, you're always
Yeah, literally me. I mean, there's so many things that like I want to just finish, but I'm just like, I'm trying to make this platformer with this platypus with a dragon fruit on its head, and I don't know how to make platformers well. And I watch all the Alexis videos, I watch all the tap videos, and I'm like, y'all.
mhm.
It just really be like that. That's why I primarily stick with like the short films because like that's something that I know. I know how to do like camera work and stuff like that. I know like what looks good. I know how to like that sort of thing. But platformers, I'm like, um, all right. Well, anyways.
Yeah. I'm still working on my first one, and it's not going well. But but I'm stubborn as hell. Like I had an art teacher in college who I drove him to curse at me in front of everyone. And
Good.
he good. Well, he's better than the other one that wanted to fight me, who literally
Oh
was
yeah.
about to fight me in class. But the one dude who cursed, he was like, "You are so effing difficult." And he was like, "And you're stubborn as shit." And he was like, "But you know what? That's probably going to work out for you." Yeah, he was like, "So even though you make me so goddamn mad," he was like, "I see where you have the potential to go." And I was like, "Well, I
Right.
appreciate that, and I'll take your words and work on myself." I'm,
Love that.
I'm still a canvas. I'm still, there's a lot of white, and I'm trying to fill it in. So I'll work on me. I love when I love, and I know this is kind of beside all of this, but I love when people literally just say what they mean.
Yeah.
I, it is so refreshing to me because we all look at we all see things like our current politicians and all this stuff, and when you see people faced with something like just stupid, and no one in the room goes like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like just something that simple. Just something that simple. It's like you always have to have this decor. I like when someone's like, "Dude, you angered the hell out of me." Like, I'm like, "Hey, now I get some actual feedback. I can work on myself. If I feel I need to, maybe I won't, but you know what? Enough people tell me, maybe I will." It's
Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny because like me as a person, as an artist or anything, I'm very like honest with how I feel about things. And the funny thing about dreams is that I really keep most of my opinions on people's things to myself because I know that like it's very much like a place of oh you're doing great and stuff, but I'm still very like critical. Like I watched so many of the animations and stuff, for example, and I'm like, that's well animated, but the story is kind of rough. But I can't like tell people that because I mean, one, who am I? And two, like two. I don't know, like dreams is just like this place of like just telling people that they're doing great out there. But I mean, I liked it whenever I want people to critique my stuff. I want them to be like, oh, I'd love to see more of this from you or this from you. I mean, as long as they're not like, oh, wow, this is dog shit, then I'm good. Because I'm like, don't ever tell me that because I will be so emotional.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, I love the critiques because I always want to be a better artist. I always want to tell my stories better, like each time I release something. So like if something doesn't work as well for you, I want to know, you know?
I'm just I, I don't see I don't think I've seen anything, and I know people are probably going to be, like, really, but I don't think I've ever seen anything in dreams where I didn't appreciate it. And and
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
and so, like, I've gotten in trouble saying a version of this before, but like even the people, like, yeah, nobody wants to see the memes, but even the but even with the memes, I'm like, that person took their time to learn enough about dreams to create that thing. And it's kind of like how my new thing, and I fail at it all the time. Still working on it. But when I watch movies now, like, I stop looking at movies in the sense of, like, of course you like or you dislike it, but if it's something that I dislike, I always try to pick out that one thing that I think that person thought was valid enough to make the film.
Hmm.
Like, you might watch something like the new Mortal Kombat, which I'm going to watch it again because your boy was in moods, okay? Your boy was in moods. But, like, I try to look at something like that, or Twilight, or I Am Number 4. Like, I'll watch anything. That's my thing. Like, I'll
Me.
watch anything. But, I always try to look at, like, what was the thing that got that idea made, or
Yeah.
what was the thing that person really wanted to get through. And while they might have failed at all this other stuff that they might even think themselves that they failed at, they still wanted to nail one thing. And making movies and corralling, like I said, a small town worth of people
Right.
to try, like, doing all the movies are magic to me, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
and and game development, to be fair, because it kind of fits into the same mold, where it's like trying to have so many different pieces come together to make a cohesive vision. It's absolutely wizardry. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, have you ever tried to get three people in a room to decide what to eat?
Oh my
Like,
God.
and then
I
think
can't
of
even with one person in the room, which is myself, I can't decide. So,
yeah.
and the interesting thing about what you were saying was that, like, I love thinking about that in terms of like horror, especially, because, like, I mean, horror, as we know, usually like digs into like our deepest fears or things like that, and seeing like where it succeeds, it really succeeds in like Candyman and the original Halloween and things like that. But then, like, they make things like what I can't even think of a bad horror movie. Well, most of them, honestly, a lot of them are really bad.
Uh
But
oh.
it's like you can tell the difference in like in the production of like Candyman and then the production of something like Slender Man, for example. It's like not really sure what happened there, but I appreciate the attempt, just like in Dreams.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's where I kind of come from with, I'm just a sponge in dreams, and I'm trying to soak up as much knowledge and execution and theory as I can, especially with my limited time as a pretty well into his life man. As so, um, yeah, yeah. It's I don't, like I said, even with memes, I don't think I've seen anything where I've been like, ew. Like, like, that's my only reaction
Yeah,
to the whole thing. Just yuck. I don't like that.
maybe I'm
But
a little bit meaner
see,
because
it
I'm not that way.
see, most people wouldn't say that because, like I said, I'm working on it because as I said, hyper analytical and critical thinking. Like, I can be pretty rough, and
Right,
it's just that for me, I don't look at dreams in the same way yet. Not that it's a lesser art form or that it doesn't deserve that critique, but it's just so young that I'm just like, everybody's learning and we all start from a different
right.
place. You know, some of us, could probably make a full career just out of dreams. But yeah, like, it's still being born. Like dreams is
Right.
still being born. And it's just it's the Wild West right now. Like
Oh God. I
it's
know
just the
not
Wild
that,
West.
not the Cowboys.
No, it's the Wild West, and it really is, because it's just like everything goes right now.
hmm
And it's because everyone is starting from their own place of learning in dreams and their own idea of what it is they can do. Like someone may start out with a meme and, they might be just playing with it for fun because they don't have time, but they're in the
Right.
process learning things. And then it's like that same person who created that meme that you sneered or rolled your eyes at, like they might be the person that comes back in 3 years of dreams and has done some insane stuff.
Right.
So it's just like everybody's using it for what they think it should be used for or can be used for right now. And so,
Yeah. I think even like people, and this is very me, suffer from like seeing people like Saku or like Half Up, like I talked about, who made like the winter gardens and water gardens, etc. Or even like Dorian, Manobo, etc. All these people make like such these cool things, and and this is just an artist thing, like where we compare ourselves. Because I know that that's something that has brought me down, where I'm working on something. I'm just trying to make this stupid platypus, and I'm like, this is so hard. And then like I see that Manobo just released this little witch thing, and I'm like, no, listen. This isn't fair. Like I just want to make something fun and great, but it also takes me forever to do things. One, I think because of my ADHD, and two, just because if I can't figure something out, I get really like upset, and then I'm like, okay, I can't play dreams for the day because I need to take a step back. And then I watch like Dorian release like his 50th little mini game. I'm like, stop it. I'm like, please give me your brains because it's not fair. And it's hard for me to ask for help sometimes too, because I mean, people are busy. People have their own lives and stuff. But I want to encourage everybody, just ask people for help. Don't do what I did, just ask people for help. Believe in yourself, just do what you can, because dreams is in its infancy, and like we're all learning together, we're having fun together, and we're expressing together. That's the beauty of dreams.
that is the beauty of dreams. And is there, I feel like this is the time to wrap up.
Mhm.
And I've truly enjoyed this conversation. I
Oh, me
always
too.
good. As I always say, hopefully I didn't bore you. And that's just
No.
it's just that thing. Wait. Can you ask for me? Wait, what am I asking?
What?
What Spicy said, can you dot 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 can you ask for me? And I'm not
I
sure
love
where.
that for them. I might, yeah.
Let me see here. Let me go ahead and get that squared away. Just making sure I'm seeing Afroman's link. I have it up. I'll add that to my play later. But no. He said we should all ask for help. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah,
definitely,
I'm really bad at that.
and there might possibly be some big things coming up here that I'll be announcing. Um, that I'll be announcing very soon. But a old friend has come around and he's looking to use dreams for something. And so I might be reaching out to people to create a team
Oh yeah.
for a big project. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, because we all know, it can all go downhill. Yeah,
Right.
it can all go
Do you
away.
um do you want me to share like my socials?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Do it. Do it.
Okay, awesome. If y'all were at all intrigued by anything that I said, you can follow me on Twitter at Deity Daydream. Deity is spelled like Aphrodite. And I'm there. And if you want to feed my narcissism, on Instagram, I'm Deity Adon Official, which is Deity ADON Official. So, and really, if you want to like talk to me about anything queer or work together in dreams, literally just message me, and I'll probably like in 2 seconds say yes, because I love working with people more than anything. So that's why like having Curtis, for example, help me with the I Dream in Pink really helped me actually make that happen, because without him, probably would still be in a limbo. So feel free to message me, and we can dream together or something, or just stalk me. That's fine too.
Or just stalk me.
Yeah, I mean, I love the attention. Like,
Hey.
like I work too hard to try to look this good to not be stalked. Like, let's be honest.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been truly an honor to speak with Deity today for the podcast. I put the Instagram in chat. Stalk and follow.
Yes. Yes, I need that. I need the narcissism. Please feed it.
Indeed. Dorian, welcome to the show. We're closing up.
Dorian. Oh, I talked for like 5 minutes just about Dorian.
But once again, sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. We're still trying to get those squared away with Jammy James. But I have enjoyed this episode, and thanks to those who stuck through, even through some of the things that a lot of people don't like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The things that are a little too mature for most of the people on Twitch. So I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have this up probably by Sunday or Monday on the YouTube. And as I stated, I'm Mighty Vicious everywhere. And yeah, I guess we head to an outro. But thanks again, Deity. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It was definitely my pleasure. Later, everybody.